Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a couple of months since we put one out, but the weather's been pretty rough. But here it is, it's springtime, and I think it's about time we dig into the S10. Trying to figure out what went wrong. If you remember we took this thing on Hot Rod Power Tour, and we made it about 30 miles before the engine completely locked up. So what we're gonna do to figure out now is what went wrong. As you see, we've had a few days here and there, hit or miss with the weather, and we got a bit of a head start. We got the exhaust off, got the front accessory drives off, we got the radiator and core support and the hood. I just recently took the intake off to maybe, is there anything in here that says this is what's wrong with the engine? And of course I found nothing. So we're taking the transmission cross member out, and I'm hooking the chain up to it now because we're about to pull this thing out. One thing I really see right about now when I took the intake off, it looks pretty dirty in there. But also, if you remember, we did not rebuild this engine. I may have mentioned it before. This was a reman engine that came out of like a 97 Suburban. We just plucked it out and put it in here. Didn't rebuild it, just took the fuel injection intake off and put a carburetor on it. Well, I'm gonna put you down here so while we get the engine picker over here, we're gonna start plucking this thing. Catch you in a minute. It's coming up pretty good. And I think we're ready. I think we're high enough. We're just going to push the truck back now, and the engine will be free. We'll set it down. Then we'll try and. As you see, the thing's still locked up. I still can't turn this thing. Oh. So we'll figure out what's going on with it. Next, I guess we'll be maybe pulling the heads or maybe pulling the oil pan off. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on with it. It's pretty much out of the truck. We're just gonna push the truck back. Oh, can't do it that way. Hang on, let's time out on this for just a second. We're going to lower it down, I think. All right, we're just pushing the truck back a little bit. One thing we were hung on we got a flexible dipstick tube from like Low Car or something, hooked around the header. Didn't want to let go. But all right, it's out. All right. Well, I don't know if we're going to break it down today, but we'll definitely be getting into the engine a little bit. Figure out what's going on with this thing. I think the curiosity's got me too much. I just couldn't put it down and walk away. I had to know a little bit more. So we went ahead and unbolted the transmission from the engine. Because the engine still seems to be locked up, we had to pull it with the converter on it. I think that's next step, trying to decide whether we're going to pull the heads or the oil pan. I don't know. So but it is still locked up. It still won't turn. But I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. All right, we got the valve covers off now. Still looking for the smoking gun of why this thing's locked up, and I've still found nothing. So next is going to be the cylinder head. So we're going to get the socket and get the head bolts loose. And I'll catch up with you after that. All right, since we're going to be taking the head off, we're going to have to take it off the chains. So we went ahead and put it in this wagon so we can move it around after it's disassembled a little bit. But I don't know. I've heard things. Maybe you can let me know in the comments if you've heard the same thing. To removing a Vortec cylinder head, if they're not cracked already, I heard that sometimes if you remove them in the wrong order, that could crack the head. So I always either reverse order or torque sequence, whatever order it's supposed to be torqued in. You go in either reverse of that, or you can actually go in the same pattern. We're gonna go with the same one, so we're gonna start here and work our way around, and hopefully that doesn't crack the head. Have to lose some water. All right, let's take a look on the inside. Everything still looks intact. No blown pistons. Cylinder walls look fantastic. All right. Guess we're gonna go on down to, we'll remove the other head. But yeah, so far these things look great. Never mind this trash here. That just came off when the head came off. Yeah, this thing looks good inside. Can't imagine what's going on. All right, we're gonna get the other head off and we'll check back with you. All right, here comes the second head. See if all the pistons are intact on this one. All right, here goes. All the pistons are intact on this one. Guess we'll give the old spin test. Make sure one is like locked up with. Nope. Still not spinning. I guess it's time to take the pan off. Well, got the engine tore down a little further. Of course, the water pump's gone. Heads are off. I was able to get the torque converter off. I've had to do that more often than I really care to admit to lately, having to pull the torque converter with a transmission. I had to do with that 6-liter LS I did it a few months ago, and a Ford F-150 engine we did. Now this one. Oh, I'm gonna get this out. Got the harmonic balancer off. I'm gonna get this front cover off. It says you got to replace this after you take the cover off, so get to do that now. We're not putting this plastic stuff back on though. Is that all of them? I don't remember. Oh yeah, here it is. It must have fell out. All right. Let's see what's behind here. Same kind of chain as the other one had. Only this one got some mileage on it. A little bit of stretch there. So continued pulling the engine apart a little bit more. Right now what I'm gonna get off is this thing right here. That's the eccentric at the front of the crankshaft. It had a sensor on the timing cover. I guess this was like a timing camshaft position sensor. To get that off, we just gotta start prying it off. It's just not even pressed on there. It's just kind of slides into place, and now it's off. Next, we're gonna take the camshaft off, or the timing gear for the camshaft. Get that out. We'll pull the cam out next. We're gonna take them off. Go ahead and pull that cam off. Cam gear, chain drops down, and she's off. All right, go ahead and pull that cam out. Give it a few spins, if it spins. Because the engine was locked up, nothing would really move, and looks like the cam's a little stubborn. All right, we're gonna grab some vice grips, and we're gonna grab that dowel and kind of pull that out. Yeah, I did forget this thing does have a retainer in it. So anybody's out there, T30 Torx bits, get those out. Now the cam will come out. Should come out. Still won't. Put the bolts back in the top. Put about 2 of them in there and give it a spin. This thing was locked it still is locked. So we don't exactly know why still, but the issue could be coming from further up. The camshaft will spin, it's just not real free when it spins. There it comes. Get both hands in there because you're gonna lift and spin. There it comes, easy with it. Oh, look how that came is scarred. Look at that. There she is. Camshaft is out. Doesn't look like it's in that great a shape. Well, I don't know. It looks like it's just a little bit of oil. Actually, yeah, it still don't look that bad, does it? Not what I thought it was. Let me see that. Not what I thought it was. Looks like it's still okay. We noticed all the lifters are still good. So, all right, now we're gonna flip it upside down so we get the pan off, and then we're gonna start on the mains and get the rods and the mains loose, and still gotta punch those, locate them. Check back with you. Look at the color of that bearing. Let's say she's gonna need some bearings for the next rebuild. It's not overly like rough or anything, but the colors like it's all the way down to the copper. All right, continue the investigation. All right, we're breaking the pan bolts loose now. This one apparently is a little jack, so we're going to put a hammer different size socket on that one. Get this one.
That's right size, man.
Huh?
That's right size.
Different size?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's a different size. We'll try it out.
I never did.
All right. Got the pan off. Just gonna zip the bolts off. And here we are. Now we got, this is the windage tray. Later model Vortex had a windage tray. And now I'm looking for the obvious signs of damage. Like intense bluing around the rods, or a main cap that I don't know, really. I'll tell you, that one there looks awful dark. If I have my suspicions, it's this one. Because right now the engine still doesn't spin. After everything's disassembled, it still doesn't spin. If I have my suspicions, spun a bearing, and it's probably this one. But we will let you know. All right, guys. We're about to pull the pistons out of this thing. Something I do, so we know this is #1 cylinder. This is flipped over. This will be your driver's side. This will be your passenger side. Driver's side, passenger side. This is your #1 piston. I've already notated that by putting a single mark right there. And what I like to do to make sure my rods go back together exactly the way they come off is I also notate the caps. Put a mark on this side and on that side. Now we're gonna go hit 2 marks on that one. And we're gonna notate on the face of it right there on that rod. So they'll go back together exactly the way they came off. And as you see, notated, they're gonna go back together same way. We're gonna finish up we're gonna go ahead and remove the first front two pistons, because if I've noticed something, I don't like the color of that one. So I don't like the color of this one or these two. So if I think we got spun bearings, we're gonna be here. So investigation continues.
Here we go.
Check this out. The bearings don't look great. Don't look horrible for like maybe a higher mileage engine, but look at this rod. It should not be sticking like that.
Yep, that should be a lot easier. It should be flopping in there.
This is the right here. If you look at the color of the cap, see how even that doesn't look great, but that one is way darker. It should be this color, and it's like black. Heat. Oh my God. There we go. That's not even the bearing. Look at that.
Oh, the bearing stayed on there.
The bearing stayed on the crank. Look at this. Oh.
Oh, that's bad.
Feel how rough that is.
Oh, that is bad.
Did you hear
oh
that?
My God.
Ooh.
The crank ate itself.
Oh, that's not a safe. Well, polish. You can probably polish that out. Maybe a turn in it.
Let's see if that one flops over.
Nope.
Nope. It's hard. Rough turn.
That's gonna be at least a 2020 crank. And that's gonna be that sounds pretty smooth. But look at that. Oh, you can't even move that. Oh, the carnage. The carnage.
Wow.
The pistons are probably keepers. The rods are probably keepers, but you're gonna have to resize the bottoms.
And you're gonna need to do the wrist pins.
That one is this is the number 3. This is the number 3. It's because we index, put a mark and a mark. Can always put them back exactly the way they came out. Whoo, man. I can't wait to see the rest of them. But now, guys, maybe it's time to put a bolt on the end of the crankshaft and see if we can start turning this thing now.
How many you got out? Let's see.
Just these two. These are loose, but it's too close to the edge of the block. I can't get the piston all the way out.
You gotta rotate the crank around.
And I couldn't do it. Oh, look at the color.
Ooh.
Can anybody see that color? Oh, look at that. That's
Garbage.
bad.
That's garbage.
You have to resize the bottom. Oh, look at the groove here.
Oh my goodness.
That's not oil. That's a gouge.
Yeah. Ooh, the crank is rough shape.
Yes, the crank is in bad shape. Oddly enough, the cylinders look fantastic. All right, looks like we got some more of our problem style rods loosened.
They're
not.
bearing?
Yeah, we probably got a bearing floating in there somewhere.
Yeah, right there in the front.
Hang on, before we go any further,
Here, take it.
that one's got to come all the way out. But as you see, if you just noticed, it did spin. So these are going to be our real problem rods right now. The rest of them are indexed and marked. I got to mark this one. This is number 6. I need to still put a mark on this one. But we're going to try and get this thing at least apart before we lose all our daylight, which we ain't got much left. But we're just gonna try and finish getting the pistons out of this thing. At least be broke down, and Lord knows what we're gonna do with it next. But for sure, the S10's getting an LS1. So I don't know when we're gonna rebuild this, but at least we'll have it with us to do something with in the future. And just as suspected, the two that we were worried about are definitely our problem child. Look at this. Look at that bearing. That bearing is absolutely melted. Come on, focus. And it has scarred the crank horribly. I'm not sure this crank is savable. This engine is destined to be a 383. Definitely a 383 out of this block. We got just 2 more to go, but they don't seem to be a problem that I'd worry about. Looks like the issue has been resolved. The crank now turns somewhat free, but the crank is definitely seeing better days. So we just got the caps off, and I see 2 bearings that have spun. At first I thought it was broken, but no, they spun. So the thing spun 2 main bearings and about 4 rod bearings. The reason why this thing was locked up. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and pull this thing out. We were using these inside the back of the crank to kind of breaker to turn the engine. Let's see what it looks like when I pull it up. Oh man, it's gonna definitely be a 2-man cameraman needed on this one. Man, look at these bearings, they just don't want to move. Did I leave them in the caps? No, they're not in the cap. That's the bearing. Maybe. That's the number 1. Here's the number 1. Is that the bearing? I can't tell. Look at all the material. Look at all that material left. This thing has ate itself apart. All right, let me get this crankshaft out. Well, I think this just about wraps up our engine teardown on the S10. If you noticed, every bearing except the thrust came out with the crank. That means it spun every main bearing. Well guys, if you enjoyed the content, be sure to give us a like, share the video. We'll see you next time.